to make social cohesion work. These are the survival and the prosperity components, which can only be achieved through a uniformed national identity, and the media, which remains the critical aspect to shaping all public narratives capable of strengthening national unity, trust, and peaceful coexistence.
And for that survival and prosperity to happen, certain things have to be met. One is a uniform national identity, which talks about a shared vision, a shared, developmental goals and all of that. The second is trust. Trust towards the government, trust towards government institutions, and trust towards other institutions of the country. So we're talking about institutions such as the religious leaders, traditional leaders, the police, the army, both public sector and public sector, civil society. So we talk about trust. And we talk about social justice. How can we ensure that public goods goes to every citizen, in spite of religion, in spite of ethnicity, in spite of regionalism, in spite of where they come from? How can we ensure that every citizen has access to the benefits of government? Then we talk about civic participation. How can we ensure that every citizen goes out there to participate in their civic duties?
Professor Ihua says the Institute has consistently generated nationwide data on social cohesion since 2019 and will unveil its latest edition of the Nigeria Social Cohesion Survey on June 25th, 2026.
By the time you see the updated data, it tells you what has happened between last year and this year. For example, you ask citizens the question of how united or divided is the country today compared to 4 years ago. You ask citizens questions like, if they had the opportunity to relocate with their families, would they seize that opportunity? You compare the data from last year to this year, and we have the trends. You can see how the data has been looking over the years. It tells you if things are happening, if government is listening to us and putting, recommendations to action, if civil society organizations are also taking that advocacy and running with it and, implementing it, the data, tends to show that.
Okay. While agreeing that many of Nigeria's challenges stem from weak social cohesion, professionals at the training urge journalists to avoid stereotypes and ethnic profiling in their reporting, stating that such practices undermine, erode national unity.
We need to avoid stereotypes as much as possible. We need to avoid situations where we assume that certain groups of people, certain, characters are the ones responsible for certain ills in the society, and therefore anytime that any such thing comes up, it's easy for us to point accusing fingers, even when others might be mimicking that particular ethnic group. So we have situations where we'll talk about Fulani headsmen, we'll talk easily about people we call the unknown gunmen. We have created all kinds of titles and labels, which is sometimes unverified. Sometimes it is because we have found 1, 2, 3 people from that particular ethnic group that have committed those, atrocities, and then we assume that naturally those are the people. Sometimes we hear them, speak a particular language, and it could be a decoy, but we don't even know. We just say, oh, they were speaking this particular language, so there must be this particular group of people. Criminals are criminals. We should criminalize the act, but humanize the process.
A call for the welfare and training for journalists to guarantee financial security for them was recorded at the training. They argued that better remuneration and insurance will reduce journalists' vulnerability to financial inducements, while also encouraging them to diversify their professional skills beyond news reporting only.
If journalists are properly taken care of, then they can write the socially cohesive stories, more patriotic stories, without being afraid of their livelihoods. Because right now, if anyone is paying a journalist a huge sum of money that is like 10 times or 5 times their salaries, of course they have the intention to make a living, and then they often can ignore the issues of patriotism, social cohesion, and all of that we're preaching. So for those of us who are preaching about social cohesion and teaching, the real corollary of this teaching is that we must take care of the welfare of journalists. It's not just training them, but they are human beings that are incurring costs, transportation, school fees for children, accommodation, and they are 24/7 on call.
Normally, when the newsman has the data and statistics and is put to good use, people will always believe in you. So you have built trust in the newsroom. You have built trust in your